just ask you a few questions and we talk about it a little bit. So, what was your inspiration for doing this piece?
Um, I was watching some coverage of picking the new pope,
Mm-hmm.
and actually, a joke ran through my mind that picking a new pope is like um, American Idol, the papal edition, pope.
Yeah.
I It was interesting. I was thinking about what drew me to Catholicism and what was my took that huge leap from holiness to Catholicism, which is almost like two different worlds completely. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was my inspiration.
Okay. And how often do you think you talk to your friends about your religion? Or I remember in the beginning of the piece you said when anyone asks you, you're proud to say you're Catholic, but do you ever? I mean, how often does it come up?
Well, initially when I first converted, it was a centerpiece of conversation because Um, you have to go through classes and all those things now, but
Hmm.
with friends and family alike, now it's really a part of just who I am. It's more of an everyday thing.
Yeah.
But before, my family didn't take it too well because, of course, they're still holiness, and people tend not to react too well to things that they don't understand.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. And
Admittedly, it's a short piece. So.
well, yeah. I mean, I there's nothing wrong with the short piece because it's a complete idea, and I liked, the little vignettes you were talking about, going to church with your father and feeling like you're cheating on your church, you know.
Well, yeah, because my father being Cuban, he's always been affiliated with the Catholic Church. Well, God rest his soul was,
Hmm.
um, but he was never really a huge practicing Catholic, and I always remember, um, the few times that he did take me to mass, to that, how relaxed and how welcomed I felt, in that process, and just remembered how even when he was away from church, how he would rely on doing the cross or his rosary, and hence me to say in the piece that he always reminded me that God is always with you, which is a huge piece of the Catholic ideology. That that's why there's all these statues and all the symbolism of God because it's always a wide known thing that God is always with you, and that's generally how it plays out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to ask you, like, I noticed you talked a little bit about like the holiness church, and so the focusing on hell and damnation, and yeah,
Yeah, which let me also say, which is totally my opinion.
yeah, of
Oh,
course, of course. I always say that without saying like anything that comes out of my mouth is my opinion usually, but yeah,
I guess I should have made that
yeah,
little side that
but yeah,
caveat.
there's opinions are welcomed on our,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. I just really felt like um, I feel like in Catholic Mass that Mass is more about the actual reading of the word.
mm,
Going to Mass is the first or second reading and it's over, unless
hmm,
it's a special Mass. But in the holiness, or in the Black Church in general, generally you have the leader, which is the pastor, whom sits down every week and he actually writes a sermon.
hmm,
But what is happening is he writes his interpretation. And
right,
I know one could argue the point that, oh, well, you get your interpretations from the Vatican,
hmm,
but the Vatican is sort of like, uh, like the church elders.
hmm,
They give their opinion. You live by it or not. It's
right,
just an opinion.
right,
It's an opinion. It's a guide. But day to day service, day to day, year to year, month to month, it's generally the reading of what's in the Bible. You get a hymn, and that's the end of service.
right.
Now, as a kid, having a short service was attractive because of my attention span. was very, very short. But
Yeah,
growing up and being a grown man as I am now, I think just getting the meat and potatoes of it all, is simply enough.
yeah,
It's simply what I need to get. So yeah, how
yeah.
that goes.
Um, yeah, their interpretation, and I use that word with quotations because sometimes to
Absolutely.
me it's like a digression. You know,
Right, and it is.
yeah, it's not even really interpretation. It's kind of like, well, I'm going to take what is here, and then I'm going to say what I want to say.
Yeah, we're going to stretch it and stretch it and stretch.
Yeah, you take like one little line, yeah, and you stretch it out for an hour,
Right.
and you're just kind of like,
Now the Bible is already an interpretation itself.
right,
So why do I need another interpretation? And and all the you're watering down at
yeah. Well, what it becomes is a cult of personality, basically.
yeah.
It's the pastor himself and what he thinks, and that can be both good and bad. Thinking about that because my uncle is a pastor himself; he has his church.
And so is my sister.
Yeah,
So I
yeah, and yeah, my cousin is following in his tradition, but
yeah.
usually what he has to say is good, and positive and helps people. But if he were not, yeah, it would just be a lot of babbling. And I noticed this with, I recently had a death in the family in December and went to their church, and it was just like complete gibberish. I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Well, I didn't want to go as far to say that
Well,
because
yeah, I'm
people
just saying sometimes it can
are
be.
very, very, very entitled to their opinions.
Right. Yeah.
But that's at a certain point you're looking to be spiritually fed, and
Right.
that's what it is. It's an opinion, and
Right.
it's almost and you kind of take it as a life aside. Maybe it's not even what you want to hear. And
Yeah.
people say, well, you take from it what you want, but I was never getting any nutrients from it, so I walked away from it.
Yeah.
So you
And yeah,
know.
you said you had some difficulty with your family with that. Like, what was their reaction to it so much?
Why? And even some people even took it to racial divides. Oh,
Mm.
there are no black Catholics. There are white people are Catholics. It was just really kind of ignorant,
Yeah.
to say the least.
So
So
saying, yeah, there are plenty of black Catholic churches.
plenty, plenty.
Yeah, there.
That have full gospel choirs,
Yeah.
and so I had to tell like my sister like we don't all go to church and sing Ave Maria all day. It doesn't. It doesn't happen that way.
Right. And there is this public perception of what it means to be Catholic because it is it's one of those things where being Catholic is a public institution as well as private service.
Right. And just like anyone else, I don't always agree with the public views of the church.
Right.
They don't always share my belief system.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's fine. And I am entitled to my own beliefs. But I feel like I'm being spiritually fed and led in the right direction. And I feel the warmth and the love. And I'm getting what I need from the interaction of going to service, or not even going to service, or belonging to a body of Christ.
Okay.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, that is great, and I think the piece is great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think people are definitely gonna get a feel for your personality and what I think it's something that everyone needs to do. Like have the courage to defy what
And
define.
Malcolm. Honestly, that's what it was. It
Yeah.
was it was just my family just generations are entrenched in the holiness faith, and we tend not to question any other thing. Nothing else exists. We don't. Nothing else exists. Nothing else is. They were not open to anything else.
Yeah.
So it was. I think I'm only one of a few of my cousins, maybe Muslim or 5% or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but actually a viable, practicing religion in my family other than holiness is almost unheard of. So I mean, I guess I never looked at myself as a trailblazer in Drayton Clan, but I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'd say like this. This might come off as incredibly offensive, but when you admit to someone that you like, dudes, you can pretty much admit to liking a lot of other things or being open to experiencing other things because if you've already made leaps of things that in your own life that allow you to separate yourself or to be separate and to do the things that you want to do and not feel ashamed of it, then you can do that in other areas of your life.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
um, that was a great piece.